Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 emo bands of the 2000s.
Everything'll be just fine. Everything'll be alright.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable emo ensembles that were popular in the aughts. Bands formed prior to the 2000s are being considered, as long as they made a great impact during the decade. Which of these bands do you still enjoy listening to? Is there a group we left off? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 10. Panic at the Disco. Although the now disbanded group Panic at the Disco branched out after becoming a solo endeavor for frontman Brendan Urie, it was once a pinnacle of the genre.
Well, imagine as I'm pacing the pews in a church corridor.
The band burst onto the scene with 2005's A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, which had an infectiously upbeat quality prevalent in mainstream emo. The album was also unique in how it was divided, with both halves thematically charting the group's sonic evolution.
So testosterone boys and Harlequin girls, will you dance to this beat and hold on the cross?
Plus, the second single, I Write Sins, Not Tragedies, was inescapable. Not that we wanted to get away from it. Panic at the Disco began to drift away from emo with their follow-up album Pretty Odd, but we'll always appreciate their roots.
It's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poison rationality.
Number 9. Dashboard Confessional. What began as an acoustic solo album for Chris Carrabba grew into an emo empire.
As for now, we're gonna hear the saddest songs and sit alone and wonder.
Beginning with 2000's The Swiss Army Romance album, Carrabba injected his simple compositions with lyrics both heartfelt and somber. More members would join for the sophomore album, leading Dashboard Confessional to have a louder sound to match Carrabba's sensitive vocals.
Screaming infidelities and taking it somewhere.
The group would put out multiple albums throughout the decade, with fans hanging on to every sad word. They even released one of the best movie tie-in tracks ever with Vindicated for Spider-Man 2.
Vindicated, I am selfish, I am wrong, I am right, I swear I'm right.
Though Dashboard Confessional is still going strong today, it's hard to imagine their influence being as widespread as it was in their heyday.
You have stolen my heart.
Number 8. The Used. Channeling some leftover 90s angst and well-placed screams, The Used became one of the premier emo groups at the start of the decade.
Each day gets more random like the last day. Still I can see it coming. Walk steady in the river drowning.
Their 2002 self-titled debut catapulted them into the mainstream, with tracks that were catchy yet drenched in anger and sorrow. Their second album, 2004's In Love and Death, was inspired by frontman Burt McCracken's personal struggles and the band's frustrations while recording.
I'm far from lonely and it's all that I've got.
The hard times worked artistic wonders, and the album is among the band's most successful. The group never slowed down though, releasing 2 more albums before the decade was up, and despite some lineup changes, they continued putting out great emo jams in the 2010s too. Number 7. Paramore. In a mostly male-dominated genre, Hayley Williams' incredible vocals have been a breath of fresh air since the 2000s.
I think we have an emergency. I think we have an emergency.
With 2005's All We Know Is Falling, Paramore stood tall with many other emo groups of the time. But that was honestly nothing compared to the 2 albums that came afterward. 2007's triple platinum Riot grabbed everyone's attention with energetic singles like Misery Business.
I'm in the business of misery. Let's take it from the top. She's got a body like an hourglass, it's ticking like a clock.
And it led to the group's first Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. Though it wasn't as commercially successful, 2009's Brand New Eyes was still a stellar release. Songs like The Only Exception and Brick by Boring Brick signaled a mature and unique direction that kept fans coming back for more. And we do.
Well, it was never my intention to brag. Just steal it all away from you now.
Number 6. Motion City Soundtrack. After forming in 1997, the Minneapolis-based Motion City Soundtrack released their first studio album in 2003.
I got the message. switch long before you said you knew there was no chance of us at all.
I Am the Movie showcased pop-punk energy with a synthesizer that gave the band a unique style. This style pairs wonderfully with the deep lyrics, which often focus on feelings of inadequacy and unease. The group's sophomore album, produced by Blink-182's Mark Hoppus, improved on every element that made the first successful. Commit This to Memory arguably marked the peak of their output, with Everything Is Alright solidifying itself as one of the decade's best emo songs. But 2007's Even If It Kills Me's upbeat compositions and catchy hooks also had us singing along with its dejected lyrics.
There's one thing you should know. This is for real.
Number 5. Fall Out Boy. Patrick Stump has one of the best emo voices in the business, full stop.
That you hate him more than you know is I wrote this for you.
That much was obvious with Fall Out Boy's debut, 2003's Take This to Your Grave. With frenetic energy, Stump's unique vocals, and lyrics fans could relate to, it paved the way for the band to take over radios everywhere. That's exactly what happened with 2005's From Under the Cork Tree, whose singles saw the group smash into the mainstream. Its immense success solidified their music as a vital piece of mid-2000s pop culture. We defy anyone to not scream along to the chorus of Sugar We're Going Down. Fall Out Boy would keep the emo sensibilities while branching out to rock and pop for future albums, bringing them even more success. Number 4. Taking Back Sunday. Formed in Long Island in 1999, it wasn't long before Taking Back Sunday had emo kids everywhere chanting along.
If I'm just bad news, then you're a liar. If I'm just bad news, then you're a liar.
The group enthralled fans of the genre through its first 2 albums, Tell All Your Friends and Where You Want to Be. With some much appreciated post-hardcore aggression and Adam Lazzara's piercing vocals, those in the know couldn't get enough. However, with 2006's Louder Now, the band found themselves a much wider audience. Thanks to infectious tracks with snappy choruses, like lead single Make Damn Sure, it pleased hardcore fans and new ones alike. While they've arguably never recaptured that glory, Taking Back Sunday remains one of the strongest emo groups of the 2000s.
I just wanna break you down so badly. Everything you say.
Number 3. Brand New. With 4 albums released across the 2000s, Brand New gave emo fans plenty to be grateful for.
Tell all the English boys you meet about the American boy back in the States.
With 2001's Your Favorite Weapon, the group featured similar pop-punk vibes as other artists of the time. But the scathing lyrics, whether directed at lost loves or former friends, set them apart. But the band also showed an extreme willingness to evolve with 2004's Déjà Entendu, an album that shows more maturity than its predecessor. Brand New continued to hit all the right notes with 2006's The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, and 2009's Daisy. Constantly experimenting with new sounds, both albums feel distinctly memorable. And through it all, the songs remain heartfelt and gripping. Number 2. Jimmy Eat World. Jimmy Eat World released several albums in the 90s, but the 2000s are when they found their greatest success by a mile.
Just try your best. Try everything you can.
Bleed American skyrocketed them to popularity in 2001, in part thanks to the poppy, surprisingly optimistic The Middle. Don't get us wrong though, that's far from being the only stellar track on the album. They'd follow it up with 2004's Futures, which would give them their second biggest hit song in Pain. Despite those albums being incredible releases, 2007's Chase This Light charted even higher. At the end of the day, Jimmy Eat World has never shied away from distorted rock rhythms, with Jim Adkins' personal, confessional delivery selling each lyric. It's no wonder they're still going strong today.
It just takes some time, little girl, in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Cursive, an example of experimental emo at its finest.
But you don't succeed, you gotta recreate your misery. You all know art is hard.
Thursday, they led the screamo charge in the early 2000s.
They stole the love from our lips and put the sex on the radio.
Senses Fail. Their songs never fail to get us headbanging and moshing.
Stay with me to the safe side. The battle has been won.
Say Anything, blending humor and self-loathing like only they can.
I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. My Chemical Romance. Many bands of the 2000s followed trends, but My Chemical Romance was one of the few to set them.
The amount of pills I've taken, cataracts of booze I've taken.
Though their 2002 debut grew out of the post-hardcore scene like many others, the group soon found themselves leading the emo charge. 2004's Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge went platinum thanks to awesome guitar riffs, clever lyrics, and lead singer Gerard Way's unforgettable vocals and stage presence.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
Then came 2006's The Black Parade, one of the most impressive albums of the decade, no matter the genre.
When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city.
The rock opera spotlights a terminal cancer patient's experience with death and went triple platinum. They just don't quite make them like this anymore. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.